Wherever we are is where we are supposed to be. Whenever we arrive will be the perfect time. Whatever we carry with us will be the remains of what has been most important. And whomever stands waiting for our arrival are most likely the sacred ones who started the journey with us. Welcome to the Habits of Heroes, 12 Practices of the Mentor. Practice 1. Sit quietly. The practice of mindfulness. To sit quietly is the foundation of all the other 11 practices. It is the rock upon which you build your dwelling, the foundation that sustains the tower of all else that you represent. To sit quietly is the practice of being still, allowing your body to teach your thinking brain to do the same, which invites all of you to show up from a centered place, a principled position, fully conscious of objectively observing the circumstances of the moment. You only observe without becoming attached to any of the actors in the unfolding drama. How you can achieve such a level of consciousness is by discovering one of your inner guides who will show you. You have an observer, a sage or elder within you who serves the voice of wisdom. Whatever your cultural tradition has named this role, it has been determined since humankind began to communicate, to be a small, quiet voice within that speaks without attachment, that says what is true without restraint. By unifying the insight of the mind with the power of the heart and the courage and will of the soul. You are a living trilogy of mind, heart, and soul. An ancient metaphor of 3 brains, 3 sources of information, each providing you with access to wisdom. Yet, at this moment, your thinking brain chatters constantly. You are in the process of defining a reality according to you. Your inner dialogue produces judgment because it relates to the stories that you remember. and the feelings that you have experienced. As you learn to become the observer, to notice, note, and release, you are to be the eye behind the eyes. And as you begin to acquaint with this ability to observe, you become the guide who has been sought by another. You will make this forward movement if you teach your body to sit quietly and simply follow your breath in and your breath out. In and out. The mentor observes, but does not judge, nor gets roiled in the emotional experience of what appears to be a moment of reality. Take this moment to experience your thoughts about a particular concern in your life. Look at the inner source versus the external noise. Every situation is often not what it appears to be. And when you approach your issues from the inside, instead of seeking an outer interpretation, you may discover an inner awakening that leads to resolution. Rearranging the deck chairs makes no difference when the ship is sinking. Go to the source. Observe the gash in the hull. Watch the water upon which you once floated claim its rightful place as it seeks its own equilibrium. It is there that you may find your solution. Next, experience your emotions. These feelings can be personal disturbances, or you can observe objectively a human life with all of its strengths and weaknesses. Sit quietly and observe. Your emotional brain may want to defend a position, justify an action in order to help you win. But the mentor does not seek to win, only seeks to observe, just as the judge in tennis sits upon his sideline chair and simply calls out if the line is crossed. Sit in the elevated chair of observation and call out of line whenever your emotions try to claim you. Behavior is a neural channel in your brain that retraces a roadway established long ago. It can also be a deep, engulfing rut that resists your escape from its grip. However, you can change directions or establish new habits when you encounter a transformational point in life, a wake-up call, or a breakthrough into a new level of awareness. While this natural process of awakening often occurs with aging and increased life experience, you can create an intentional process now through the energy of persistent intention. First, imagine that to sit quietly is primarily a practice. That is an act that you practice consciously. And when done persistently, it becomes an unconscious competence, a habit. As with any new way of behaving, you will usually set parameters for the practice until the rhythm is established. For instance, for physical exercise to become a norm, it is like learning to play the piano or ride a bike, which will come naturally after the actions required are practiced enough. The reward of persistence is that the practice then becomes a part of your fabric. It becomes a habit. To sit quietly for you may seem like a punishment, as sitting still or being quiet may have been something you had to do as a child because you were misbehaving. Or perhaps you think of it as a selfish act for you to take time for you, to spend time observing your feelings and thoughts, your books, your journals, your meditations, your reflection. To sit quietly is an attitude, a state of mind. Sitting quietly may be in the water or by the water. It may be to the sound of the gentle rain on a metal roof, or the slow drip of the water making delicious coffee, the sound of the wind through the pines, the steady breathing of a newborn. Wherever you are, start where you are, as you are, and observe what you perceive to be true. For the mentor, sitting quietly will determine the kind of presence you bring to the relationship with the ones you will teach. It is the ability to create a silent space to listen and to hear, to put aside your story in order to hear the sacred story of those who have sought you. It may be reminiscent of the times you sat in front of one who listened to you, who loved you, who paid close attention to every nuance, who, when they did speak, told you the truth in kindness and served as an example of humility and wisdom. The obstacles along this path can be overcome. If you think you have no time or that you don't deserve it, you have not yet begun the most significant life path that awaits you. Make the time to discover your way to sit quietly, a way in which your needs are met and uses your unique biology for the creation of a quiet space, a stillness where you can put aside the craziness of chaos around you and become the observer, the sage, the elder. The eye behind the eyes. It is then that you may hear the voice of wisdom. Just one of the gifts that will come to you when you sit quietly.